7 years? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. I remember sitting in 6th grade and the new kid, like, sat up on next to me and he was like, oh, I have the new iPhone 10. And I was like, that is sick. Wow, look at the Face ID and all the amazing things. And I didn't even think about it back then, but why did a 6th grader have a brand new iPhone 10? This was like maybe a couple of months after it came out because he just moved in like halfway through the school year. First of all, that didn't even occur to me, but like, wow, the iPhone 10, let alone just having a phone in 6th grade, like I was in elementary school. That is still weird. I didn't even have a phone in elementary school. But yes, as you can see, we are talking about the iPhone 10 today. It is 7 years old. Like, what? That is crazy. It was like a crazy phenomenon. It was the first one to go. First button to go home buttonless, a new design, wireless charging. It was crazy for the time. Like, you got the stainless steel edges, the glass back so you can support wireless charging, still had lightning, but USB-C wasn't like too popular, like just the MacBooks had it, a couple Androids. It had obviously the cool dual camera setup that was connected with the flash and everything. I still think that is the best camera module. Obviously no bump would be better, but that still is the better camera module. But then, you know, stainless steel all around the side. It was the first all screen, so it still had a little bit of a bezel, which like at the time didn't seem thick, but it kind of seems thick today compared to like a newer phone. It was a 5.8 inch screen, which the previous big screen iPhone was 5.5, but technically that's lying because really what the iPhone 10 was like an iPhone 8 but with no bezel. The iPhone 10s Max would be the first one that would be the plus size that made the bezel disappear for the max size phones. 5.8 inches was, I think, pretty great. I still love the 5.8 to 6.1 inch size phone anyway, so I would pick that over the 6.5 inch iPhone XS Max 15 Pro Maxes anyway. I just like the smaller phone. Besides, if it has all the same features, I can put up with the battery life. I don't care about a bigger screen. It was the first phone with OLED too, which they did a real cool technique where they folded it under to keep it no bezel all the way around. And OLED was great. We'd been stuck with the same iPhone displays for almost 7 years by that point, because technically the iPhone 8 still had the same screen resolution as the iPhone 4. Yeah, and then that would be a whole controversy with the iPhone XR the next year. The blacks were actually really black this time instead of just blue. It was the first one with Face ID, so the front camera could actually do even portrait mode shots. But Face ID, it was slow at the time, but it did get faster with iOS 12 and especially with iOS 13. It did get memed a lot. A lot of people didn't like the notch, but nowadays it's like we're accustomed to it because literally every iPhone up until the iPhone 14 had a notch for the longest time. It's crazy that we've only come this far since the iPhone 10 because the iPhone 10 was just that amazing. But what's sadly, as much as the hardware is amazing on it, what comes down to it on the iPhone 10 these days is the software. It has actually been stuck on iOS 16 and it didn't even get the cool features from iOS 16 like subject lift, and it also didn't get like the updated camera layout from iOS 14 that the iPhone XS has gotten later. Mostly it was sad because the iPhone 10, the A11 chip it hasn't held up as well. The A12 chip has held up great, surprisingly. But the A11, you know, not as much, and same with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. It's just kind of all stuck in the same boat. I was really hoping you would get iOS 17. It's still stuck on iOS 16, so even if you want to try to buy that phone today, you're gonna be losing app support in a couple like years now, and you're not getting any new features. So what you're buying into, is what you're buying, and it's not gonna change very much from this point on. It's as sad as it is, even though it's 7 years old, it's dying out, and the iPhone 10 is finally gonna get buried in a sense because it's just not as cool of a phone anymore. Onto the cameras, we got two cameras, both 12 megapixels. One's a wide camera and one's a telephoto camera. The telephoto had just been released on the iPhone 7 Plus just the previous year, so it was technically like the second iPhone generation with the telephoto camera. Both the cameras did get optical stabilization, so they would both, as you're moving the camera, it would try to correct for the shakiness a little bit. Other than that, it was a huge update for portrait mode. They had a bunch of different portrait mode filters and stuff like that. I think the cameras are pretty great. There's a couple shots that have been shot on the iPhone 10. They're still pretty great today. You could still do, it was the first iPhone that could do 4K 60 video, which was crazy at the time. I think it was the iPhone 10 that really got me like interested in Apple. Like I had an iPhone 4 I used as like kind of like an iPod, which was pretty cool. I love that iPhone 4. The summer after 6th grade, I had some weird Samsung phone for a little bit, and then I finally got an iPhone 6 for like a year, and then I finally got the iPhone XR almost a year after it came out, right before the 11s were gonna come out, and the XR felt like something else, and That was my first experience with kind of an iPhone 10 type of device. My sister actually still sort of uses the iPhone 10 today. She could care less about that software updates and stuff like that, so it's running great for her surprisingly, but she doesn't really care about things on her phone. So yeah, the iPhone 10 has been pretty cool. And do you guys still have an iPhone 10? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear about it. And please like, comment, share, subscribe, and peace out.